Om Namo Narayanaya. Welcome back to another day. Just sitting here in my living room. Please mind this part of my camera. My lens is actually cracked, and there's a window here and there's a window here, and even with lights I couldn't completely get rid of it. But you're not here to look at my amazing face. You're here to read some scriptures and praise the Lord and do other things. But that's what this is, and I don't want to buy a new camera. Anyways, today we're doing chapter 12, the birth of Emperor Parikshit. The sage, Shanaka, said, "The womb of Uttara, mother of Maharaja Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Asvatthama. But Maharaja Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord." How was the great emperor, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place, and what did he achieve after his death? We all respectfully want to hear about him, to whom Shukadeva Goswami imparted transcendental knowledge. Please speak on this matter. Sri Sutta Goswami said, "Emperor Yudhishthira administered generously to everyone during his reign. He was exactly like a father. He had no personal ambition, and was freed from all sorts of sense gratification because of his continuous service unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. News even reached the celestial planets about Maharaja Yudhishthira's worldly possessions, the sacrifices by which he would attain a better destination, his queen, his stalwart brothers, his extensive land, his sovereignty over the planet Earth, his fame, etc. Ah, Brahmanas, the opulence of the king was so enchanting that the denizens of heaven aspired for it even. But because he was absorbed in the service of the Lord, nothing could satisfy him except the Lord's service. Oh, son of Bhargo, Shanaka, when the child Parikshit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother Uttara, and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra thrown by Ashvatthama, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. The Lord was only thumb high, but he was all transcendental. He had a very beautiful blackish infallible body, and he wore a dress of lightning yellow and a helmet of blazing gold. Thus he was seen by the child. The Lord was enriched with 4 hands, earrings of molten gold, and eyes blood red with fury. As he loitered about, his club constantly encircled him like a shooting star. The Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a few drops of dew. He was observed by the child, who thought about who he was. While thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supersoul of everyone and the Protector of the righteous, who stretches in all directions and who is unlimited by time and space, disappeared at once. Thereupon, when all the good signs of the zodiac gradually evolved, the heir apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in prowess, took birth. King Yudhishthira was very satisfied with the birth of Maharaja Parikshit, had the purificatory process of birth performed. Learned Brahmanas, headed by Damya and Kripa, recited auspicious hymns. Upon the birth of a son, the king, who knew how, where, and when charity should be given, gave gold, land, villages, elephants, horses, and good food grains to the Brahmanas. The learned Brahmanas, who were very satisfied with the charities of the king, addressed him as the chief amongst the Puras, and informed them that his son was certainly in the line of descent from the Puras. The Brahmanas said, "This spotless son has been restored by the all-powerful and all-pervasive Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, in order to oblige you. He was saved and he was doomed to be destroyed by an irresistible supernatural weapon. For this reason, this child will be well known in the world as one who is protected by Lord Vishnu. Ah, most fortunate one, there is no doubt that this child will become a first-class devotee and will be qualified with all good qualities." The good king Yudhishthira inquired, "Ah, great souls, will he become as saintly a king, as pious, in his very name and as famous and glorified in his achievements as others who appeared in this great royal family? The learned Brahmana said, "Ah, son of Pritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ikshvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born. As for following the Brahmanical principles, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Rama, Lord Vishnu, the son of Maharaja Dasharatha. This child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous King Shibi of the Ushinana country. And he will expand the name and fame of the family like Bharata, the son of Maharaja Dushyanta. Amongst great bowmen, this child will be as good as Arjuna. He will be as irresistible as fire and as unsurpassable as the ocean. This child will be strong as a lion and as worthy a shelter as the Himalaya mountains. He will be forbearing like the earth and as tolerant as his parents. This child will be like his grandfather Yudhishthira or Brahma in equanimity of mind. He will be munificent like the lord of the Kailasa hill Shiva. And he will be the resort of everyone, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, who is even the shelter of the goddess of fortune. This child will be almost as good as Sri Krishna by following in his footsteps. In magnanimity he will become as great as King Randiteva, and in religion he will be like Maharaja Yayati. This child will be like Bali Maharaja in patience, a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna, like Prahlada Maharaja, a performer of many horse sacrifices and a follower of old and experienced men. This child will be the father of kings who will be like sages. For world peace and the sake of religion, he will be the chastiser of the upstarts and the quarrelsome. After hearing about his death, which will be caused by the bite of a snake bird sent by the son of a Brahmana, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto Lord Vishnu, taking shelter of him. After inquiring about proper self-knowledge from the son of Astyadeva, who will be a great philosopher, he will renounce all material attachment and achieve a life of fearlessness. Thus those who were expert in astronomical knowledge and in performance of the birth ceremony instructed King Yudhishthira about the future history of his child. Then, being sumptuously remunerated, they all returned to their respective homes. So his son would become famous in the world as Parikshit, because he would come to examine all human beings in his search after that personality whom he saw before his birth. Thus he would come to constantly contemplate him. As for the moon, in its waxing fortnight, develops day after day, so the royal prince Parikshit very soon developed luxuriantly under care in the full facilities of his guardian grandfathers. Just at this time, King Yudhishthira was considering performing a horse sacrifice to get free from sins incurred from fighting with kinsmen. But he became anxious to get some wealth, for there were no surplus funds outside of fines and tax collection. Understanding the hearty wishes of the king, his brothers, as advised by the infallible Lord Krishna, collected sufficient riches from the north left by King Maruta. But those riches the king could procure the ingredients for 3 horse sacrifices. Thus the pious king Yudhishthira, who was very fearful after the battle of Kurukshetra, pleased Lord Hari, Lord Vishnu. Sri Krishna, being invited to the sacrifices, saw to it that they were performed by qualified twice-born Brahmanas. After that, for the pleasure of the relatives, the Lord remained a few months. Shanakana. Thereafter the Lord, having bade farewell to King Yudhishthira, Draupadi, and other relatives, started for the city of Dvaraka, accompanied by Arjuna and other members of the Yadu dynasty. And thus ends this chapter. If you wish to know what a horse sacrifice is, I'm actually not going to tell you, because I really can't. I I don't even know if it has anything to do with horses, but I believe it does. I believe it is an actual sacrifice of horses. Maybe. I'm going to let you research it, because my reading of it is obviously very scant. What I do know is that it is in the Vedas. I have seen it mentioned in reading the Vedas, but I've honestly not read the parts in the Vedas of the horse sacrifice. Now, I used to follow a guru named Adidas Samraj who used to talk about the horse sacrifice, and he used to use a horse as his symbol, and the horse became part of his religion, Adidam. But he wasn't Hindu, and he pushed away Hinduism, and he believed he was a brand new revelation. So, I don't think you can go to Adida to find out what a horse sacrifice is, but that might also be a resource, because they do sometimes on the website describe what some of the traditions that Adida took actually mean on some level. But anyways, that's what that means. We don't do them anymore. We don't need to. We're in the Kali Yuga. This takes place before the Kali Yuga. So, yeah. Thanks for hanging with me. Thoughts, questions, comments, or anything else, please put them down below. And next time we'll continue with Chapter 13. And sorry for my cough there. I was trying to use a funny voice and got the best of me. Little dry throat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.